Hi, welcome to Living Healthy with Amy Turner. Today we have a very special guest named Monique Gafa. She is a FLY facilitator. I met her just a few months ago with the FLY program. And she is in her mid-40s, has 2 young children and married. And she has an amazing journey that I would like her to share with us today about what brought her to the FLY and how that's transformed her life.
Yes. Yes, I definitely have gone through an amazing journey. I often joke that I have gone through a little bit of a lot of things. Pretty much, if you name it, I might have gone through a little bit of it.
Yes. Okay. So what would you like to start, back when, maybe some struggles you had and maybe some other things that you did to help you or give you comfort and relief? And then, what brought you to the FLY? Just start from the beginning, wherever you'd like.
Hey. All right. So yeah, I grew up basically a loner.
Yeah.
I was just kind of an awkward child. I was very happy to be on my own.
Uh-huh.
And as I went through my school years, discovering that I just kind of was different than everybody else. It wasn't until years and years later I figured I must have been high functioning autistic.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the fifth of 8 kids, so I don't know. I was just kind of like slipped through the cracks. No one really discovered much about who I was or where I was. I remember being out with friends as a teenager and coming home, the doors were locked. They didn't even know I was gone. But
Wow.
so then finally, so I ended up getting married at a young age, 19,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a lot of struggle in that marriage. It was one though that I really felt was meant to be,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned a lot, a whole lot.
Great.
And it was
Great.
during that marriage that I found a program that uh, I thought was going to be helpful for my husband. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, it was. It helped him so much out. My first husband helped him so much that I wanted to try it. Had no idea it was going to help me so much. And that's when I was really able to decipher more clearly how my mind was working and understanding more of that kind of the traits of the high functioning autistic that I was displaying, I think. After that, I began to have a lot more experiences with gaining clarity on some of my trauma from my childhood and um, really coming to a place where after I divorced my first husband and got married to my current husband and dealing with the issues that he has, I found myself really struggling to a depth of hopelessness that I think I felt like I might have been headed in that direction throughout my life, but always kind of hoping I was going to rise out of it when the very opposite happened.
Yeah.
um, Things became extremely difficult and confusing for me. And what made it more difficult for me too was the fact that now I had 2 children. So my first marriage, I couldn't have children. Um, and then now I have 2 young children. And all the troubles that I've gone through in this marriage left me feeling a lot of hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And as I tried to make pleas for help or tried to make steps to improve my life, I just couldn't find any support. I just continued to find, if anything, more evidence of how alone I was.
Mm-hmm.
And this became a very hopeless journey for me. I was at a point of finally thinking, I have to do something because I've literally been through it all. I've tried counseling, I've tried different sorts of modalities like EMDR,
Mm-hmm.
NLP, EFT, tapping, energy practitioner. I've even studied a bunch of these things too. And I've worked for 13 years doing the cognitions program that helped me so much 13
Mm-hmm.
years ago. It's been over 13 years now. And really found a lot of joy in doing that, but still was so hopeless in my personal life and in my home life, feeling desperate that I finally hit a real low when it was kind of a mixture of a low and a high, though, because I had gone through a previous experience after having tried to get out on my own and leave my husband several times. Finally, at one point, I did have a place for myself, and I've thrived for the first time in my adult life and really did a lot of healing for 1 year, but then found myself right back. And what really hit that low on that was then I was wrongfully fired from my main source of income. And at that point, I just really felt like, oh, I have to make a decision here how I'm going
Mm,
to deal with this. Well, I didn't. I was going to get emotional,
that's good. That's okay.
but it just became one of those moments of how do I hold still and at the same time do something about what I'm dealing with right now? Because I'm just so done. I can't keep going on like this, and yet I have the most potential I've ever had in my life. I could see it, I could sense it, I was feeling it, and I was trying to trust it. And that's when I found Fly. um,
Wow.
and that was just a short, not even 6 months ago. I think it was about 6 months ago, but then it took me a couple months to kind of get started because
Yeah.
there was still just kind of that hesitancy in my brain of, oh, everything else in my life has fallen out from under my feet. So here we go, trying,
Um,
you know.
how did you find the fly?
Good question. So I have an older sister who is she's she also is what I would consider high functioning autistic. Because
Uh-huh,
she has struggled that way in her life.
uh-huh.
Um, and and so she gets real hyper focused on things. And something that she has always been really good at doing is trying to discover those things that can help all the mental issues in my family. We
Mhm.
have paranoid schizophrenia, manic depressive, bipolar, the high functioning autistic, I believe, even though it's not been diagnosed, um, and then anxiety and depression, like in all the various members. Like I said, fifth of 8 children, and my mom and
Wow.
my dad. My dad has passed away, but my mom. That's been quite a journey watching her go through her healing process through since
Yeah.
all that time too. Um, and so my sister is the one that I guess had a connection to Annette, who is actually a facilitator in Fly. She
Okay.
wasn't at the time, though, that she introduced us to it, or at
Okay.
least my sister to it.
Uh-huh.
And my sister's the one that sent a text to the family trying to invite us to look at this stuff. Um, the timing must have been bad because I don't even remember seeing that text from her. It's possible I was like, oh, another one of those things she's trying to help the family with, you know.
Yeah.
So, but the moment that I was finally like, I have to do something, that's when the text came through. And the story of that for me was incredible because I'll never forget the feeling that came with that text message, a feeling of hope. I hadn't even read what it said yet. I just could feel it coming from the text. And
Wow. That's amazing,
that's
Monique.
what really drew me into it. Yes.
Wow, that is so cool. So, could you tell me some of the changes that have taken place since you've done the fly and brought that into your life, like on a personal level?
Yes. What I was able to really, my first breakthrough really was identifying that I'm the one that I guess made my life happen the way it did.
Hmm.
Being able to take on that accountability has been the most empowering thing. I don't even know how to describe how empowering it is because
Yeah.
to go, oh, I'm the one that was choosing to function at a distance from people. I'm the one that was being overly sensitive. I'm the one that was um, doing all of this to try and somehow communicate with people that I was in trauma.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, and my mind took a shift in my perception of myself and in my identity, is
Mhm.
when things really just began to exponentially like explode into this new life that I've just been dreaming of having. So so now I've taken accountability for all of what I've done with my life. Therefore, I'm taking accountability for what I can create in my life now. I'm feeling very empowered to teach other people that they are empowered, that they have the capacity to choose how they see their life, therefore to choose how they approach their life and have their life respond differently than it has been, because that's been my experience with it. So now I'm looking forward to starting my own business soon. I'm I just enrolled with a coaching academy. I have been meeting lots of other entrepreneurs. I'm really excited about all the steps that I get to be taking soon to just start leading me into this future of absolute hope.
That is so awesome, Monique. You're going to be able to help so many people because of your story and all the hope it's given you. So are you you're a coach right now too? Is that what you said or
Yeah, I'm going to it's called Elevated Coaching Academy. So I'm
okay.
learning about coaching. Yes, life coaching.
Awesome. So cool. I got life coached years ago. I didn't become a life coach, but someone coached me. So yeah, coaching's awesome too. Um,
Yes.
and then can you tell me your relationship with your children now and your spouse and how that has transformed and changed and helped you become better?
Yes. Yes, because feeling hopeless like I was, I didn't realize I was doing so much focusing on everything that was beating me down and
Yeah.
how that was affecting my children and my husband.
Yeah.
So, by overcoming that, I have been coming to the answers finally that I've been looking for to fix whatever I thought were problems, and finally discovering that it was me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the one that didn't have to be so afraid, and so by doing so, I have come to a realization of my power of choice.
hmm
So as I've chosen to look at everything, I mean, the whole log list of offenses that our mind might take on something, especially in a marriage, right?
Yeah.
Um, but especially in a marriage with difficulties like mine had, and has had,
Yeah.
and is still got those struggles. But because I've been able to change my perception on everything, my perspective is, oh, I can frankly forgive it, and I'm not affected by it. And in so doing, I have found myself genuinely feeling love, whereas I was feeling so much hurt and offense before. And it's like, wow, what a contrast. Nothing particularly changed other than me being able to see it differently. And so now I wake up in the morning, I'm totally excited to see my husband, love making his lunches for work. And
Mhm.
he's like, kind of like new on how does he take this. Like he was kind of nervous when he saw that I was going to discover he didn't eat his sandwich that I made for him for lunch. And I was like, I'm not making my lunch, making your lunch for me. I'm making it, or for you. I'm making it for me.
Yeah,
I
there you
enjoy
go.
making it, whether you
That's
eat it or not.
cute. I love that. So as you serve others and love more, you're feeling better inside, right?
Yeah, and I would almost kind of flip that because I've chosen to feel better inside.
Yes.
I am now more empowered to serve others and to love others, especially those that were originally my offense.
Yeah, I was going to say what the FLY program's done for me is I know I just love people way more, just like you were saying. I mean, I used to blame a ton, and I used to think, oh, if I didn't have this situation or if this person, didn't say this to me or act this way, I'd be happy or, you know what I mean? And it's like, I've just learned through this program. No. And I knew that before the program, but I didn't know how is what I'm saying. I didn't know how to literally get off the blame. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I became addicted to blame pretty much,
Right. Yeah.
you
I was
know?
addicted to anger.
Yeah.
It was like I wanted to validate that I had been offended
Yeah.
and nobody is noticing. So you need to notice.
Yes. Yes. I know. Isn't that interesting? And then,
Look how
and then
angry I am.
yes. Isn't that funny? And it's like we didn't realize, right, about those chemicals. We didn't realize we were feeding our brain just wants chemicals. And every time we got angry or blamed, right, we were just feeding the chemicals, and it kept going and going. And um, what was I going to say about that? Yeah, because anger, I've struggled with addiction to anger too. So now I'm learning in this program, the more and more I get into the program more and I do it, I'm like, wow, the anger is getting less and less because I don't want it anymore. Once I recognize it's there, I'm like, ooh, it's not a good feeling. I want to love, right? You know,
And I'm
and
discovering that with my children.
yes.
So yeah, just even with my husband too. But I'm discovering that it's fun to see their mind wheels turning as it's like,
Yes.
huh, wait, I don't have to be careful what I say in front of her anymore. I don't have to be careful what I'm doing. I'm not walking on eggshells anymore. This is new. What do I do? So even
I
my
love
daughter,
that.
it was a huge breakthrough for me to realize that my daughter,
Uh-huh.
as innocent and as children are, um, she was, I believe, sensing the deficit I was feeling because of my perceptions causing me to have such a deficit in love and connection. And so I think she wanted to nurture that. She wanted to help me feel better somehow. But then I didn't see her as a source of someone that I would get that from,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
comes from me, right? But so I didn't see her as a source. And so I think that's what created a lot of headbutting between us. And she was like very strong willed. And I just saw her as being selfish. I mean, here she is, just cute, 8 and 9 years old, and she just turned 9 in November. And so I'm just like always viewing her as my competition almost. Just
Oh my God.
why,
Yeah.
And so had when I had my breakthroughs about realizing, holy cow, she's been doing everything she can because of her love for me. And yeah, that's created a lot of fights between us. And then she would even create a lot of fights between me and her dad, or she and her brother.
Yeah.
And when I finally realized that it was because she was trying to feel that need of love and connection and just couldn't get the connection. And so,
Yeah.
when I finally realized that, I just began connecting with her. And ultimately, I began connecting with myself. And it was so fun. The first night I realized this, I went home and I gave her a compliment about, I know she's a great friend. I've seen her keep all of her promises to her friends. And she
Oh.
was really nurtured by that. I just felt it fill her up. And she stopped fighting with her brother at that moment, you know. And
Oh.
and I thought, wow, that worked like a charm. And within like 30 minutes of that, I remember she kind of had this jab, like she was kind of trying to take a jab at me, like, I want to poke you for a second, mom, because I'm kind of confused why you seem so bright and fulfilled right now.
Yeah.
And as she did that, and I just smiled back, and I just was revealing what I really was choosing inside without any effect externally. I saw this new light come on in her eyes, where it was like, it's like she went and she looked at her future and she went, I can do all this now. I don't have to be focused on you. It was a huge little shift for
Oh.
her. And she is so creative, and she's just been going everywhere with her creativity now, just making slime, making puppets, making stickers, making just really exploring. And she's satisfied. She doesn't create nearly the fights like I feel like we used to have. And I say she create, right? So really, I know it was me. A lot of it was me creating the fights because she just wanted to connect, and I saw her as competition. Quite silly.
Right. Right. That is so cool. And how did you feel as a mother, when all this was going on with her and her transformation?
Oh, I just felt so relieved. And I say relieved because I always felt like I was such a failure as a mother, going through all these
Mm.
struggles that their dad and I have been through. And knowing that those struggles now knowing that those struggles were because of my own perceptions and being so afraid and feeling such a insecurity of how to deal with it, etc. Now I understand that, oh, I never even had to be that way. So okay, I got a lot of work to fix here now. A lot of a lot of curiosity to have now and how to help my children.
Yes.
But thankfully, that's the angle that I get to have, is that now I can see it with that curiosity and be able to identify, oh, my children are starting to fill a deficit, in here or there. I can start to identify some of what they're experiencing with more clarity and go,
Yeah.
oh, I might know how to assist them now in discovering their own purpose or their own identity or their own um, direction of perception, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so amazing. Um, I know I was going to say, when I've been transforming more and more too as a mom, it's like, it's so cool to see my kids change, as I change. I
Yes.
get what you're saying. I realize that, and that's what the program teaches, that a lot of what we're doing as parents, right? The kids are going to pick up on it because they just do what we do, right? And so they're not going to usually do what we say, but they'll do how we act and things like that. And if we're having anxiety, they're going to pick up on it and have anxiety and things like that.
Yeah.
And so in general, and so it's cool because I can see some of my children who have struggled with anxiety, it's gone down. And my littlest son, he's 11 years old, he just turned 11. But it's so cool, Monique, because I've one of the things I've struggled a lot in my life is control too. Like I always say I don't want to be controlling, and I didn't think I was, but then I realized, wow, I really have been controlling. And I can see where I was pushing him away a lot, right? And now it is so amazing, Monique, because I feel so much peace inside and calmness that he'll just come up and snuggle with me out of the blues several times a day. Where it used to be, once in a while he would, but not that often. And now he just comes because he can feel that I'm not trying to control him, that I'm just loving him, you
I
know?
have had that experience too. Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Oh,
it's
cool.
beautiful. Yeah. It's like,
Isn't that the
oh, this
coolest
is
feeling?
good. Remind you, I I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
touch people. I was
yeah,
too it was too much stimulation. I didn't talk. I was a jabberer,
yeah,
but it was only because I was trying to find the right words. And so I
yeah.
lost people's interest because I would repeat stuff over and over, and I was like, ugh, forget it, like. But yeah, so
Right.
so having that now with my kids, where they just want to come and cuddle, and they want me by them, and they want to talk to me and everything, it's just so beautiful and such a new enriching way of living.
Yes, that is. I agree. That is so cool. Well, Monique, thank you so much for being on today. This was such an amazing journey that you shared with us. And I love to hear all these experiences you've had of the transformation that the fly has done for you and your family. And that's what it's about, is us transforming inside of us, right? And empowering
Absolutely.
ourselves, which then people see that around us and they want to be empowered, and we love ourselves more. So in turn they feel of our love, and it's just so cool.
Yes. It's interesting. What just came to my mind is, because of the struggles that I've dealt with my husband's struggles.
Yes.
um, my neighbors across the street, I have really struggled with, because they are in that same field of struggle.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just wondering, how much do I say? And so it was interesting, because I remember about a year ago
Mhm.
having an experience, maybe a little bit longer ago, where I was looking at the house across the street, and I was feeling just this so much anger and
Yeah.
offense. And because it associated with my personal life too, because there was that connection there.
Mhm.
And then having this little revelation say to me, "You will serve them one day, and you will love it." And I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, I got to change something, don't I?" And now I understand. Oh, yes, I do
Oh,
need to change something, and I could, and I did. And now that I have, and I'm growing in that direction, I really can envision the opportunity is going to be to be able to serve them and to just love them unconditionally.
that is so cool, Monique. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was amazing. That is what it's about, just loving and serving others, right?
Yes.
Um, okay, thanks for coming on today. And where can our viewers find you if they'd like to connect?
Yes. I am on Facebook. I'm not real savvy on everything. I know that I've got something on, what's it called?
You're good.
I
Oh,
keep getting notifications that people have looked at my like name on another was it I can't even think what it's called.
no, that's-
Um but I haven't visited it often of course. But Facebook is a really good place, and then of course
Okay.
just the good old fashioned phone number and email really, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Did you want to share that then? Your email and
Yeah, well, if you
phone
want to
number?
email me, yeah, it's quite simple. It's just my name, Monique Gafa at gmail.com. And I'd
Okay.
love to hear from you.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much for coming on today and have a great day. Thanks everyone for joining this
Thank you, Amy.
podcast.
Wonderful. Mwah.
Thanks, Monique. Okay, we're done. Cool. Yeah, that was so
Yay.
awesome. I love your story. It is so amazing.
Thanks
Oh my
for
gosh.
watching
This episode of Living Healthy with Amy Turner. If you enjoyed watching, please be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified about future episodes. If you would like to learn more, you can comment below and be sure to follow and message me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks a lot for watching and have a fabulous day.